Hello, friend. Jim here with JB's Big Adventure, coming to you from Lake Chapala, Mexico. And I've got another great video for you today, all about some things that I think's affected everyone. And it might be something that's really affecting you. So before I get to that, if you haven't already, I'd like to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's fast, free, and easy to do. On the bottom right-hand side, there's a little red box. Tap on it, and you'll be subscribed, and you'll know when our next video comes out. Also, give us one of those thumbs up. Lets other people know it's a great video to watch about retiring to Lake Chapala. Now, let's get the good stuff. So, the reason I'm putting this video out is because I've had enough people saying to me all the stuff that they're seeing on social media, but mainly on Facebook. And so I'm going to take care of some of these myths or misconceptions, because I know for a fact there are those of you that are conscientiously looking at wanting to come to Mexico. So I hope that what I share with you is something that you feel supported, that you've got my support on in regards to what you're being subjected to. In the same regards, if you're someone that's already here at Lake Chapala, you just want to be careful of what you're spreading around, because the things I'm going to share are in fact incorrect facts. And I really try to make sure, and I make a very conscientious effort to make sure that what I'm sharing is the truth. And because I know that there's folks that are looking at coming here to retire at Lake Chapala. So if you are here already, and you're one of those that post things on Facebook, here's what I want to ask you. When you first looked at coming to Lake Chapala, did you do a bunch of research? Did you look anywhere and everywhere that you could for information that will educate you about retiring to Lake Chapala? What was the anxiety like? What did you feel? Did you feel any kind of fear? Did you feel any kind of anxiety about moving to Lake Chapala? Well, just think about new people that are looking, because they feel today the same way you felt then. The only difference is you got here before they did. So if this is one that's actually putting stuff on Facebook, I'm really going to urge you to make sure and be careful of what you're actually spreading to other people that are really looking to live here. So when folks are looking, it's because they're at high anxiety, because their information level, their knowledge level is low. So high anxiety when you're checking things out about retiring to Lake Chapala and all the things that go along with that, because your knowledge is low. You don't really know. But then there comes a point where your knowledge is high, which means now that your fears, your concerns, your anxiety is low because of the fact you've got more information. So think about that. So what I want to share with you are some of the things that I've seen on Facebook that I know are incorrect. And again, if you're someone that's posting these, because I get these emails all the time of people wanting to find out if in fact that this is how bad this is, or is this really what's happening? So here's some things I know. When folks are online looking for information, they're doing it. And if they're looking at your post, and they trust you that you're putting down the correct information. They've got faith because they're afraid that they're doing the right thing when they hear all the negativity. We want to make sure that we've got integrity with them. We want to make sure that we're ethical also on top of that. Now, here's something else I know. There are people going to Facebook that are angry about something. They didn't like this, didn't like that. They don't like the traffic, whatever it may be. They find something negative that they can actually tell other people about, because misery loves company. Negativity is one of those things that's a strong magnet that people literally are gravitated to if they're of that mindset. So how about entitlement? How about the way you come across on Facebook or on social media about you don't know why things here aren't the same as they are back where you came from? Because if that's the case, why are you here? There's no reason for you to go through all the frustration and anxiety and such, living in a place that you're really frustrated about. But there's no reason to literally shoot down somebody else that's really looking. The stress and the concern people go through. Misinformation is what I'm talking about. Now, here's why it happens and how it happens. There's no responsibility and there's no accountability. Both of those. So somewhat what people are doing is putting their life in your hands. The same reason that when people say they're coming down here to check things out, it's because they believe in me. They feel because of the experience that they're having on YouTube that they already know me and they know that I'm a good person. I care about people. They know that what I also do is have people's best interests at heart, because that's really what this is all about. There are people that even make things up. So I'm going to share some of those with you right now. Do you remember the telephone game? And that is, if one time I did a study, I shouldn't say a study, an experiment. I was doing a seminar at a ballroom at a hotel. I was the keynote speaker. And there were 25 people. I'll never forget, there was a row in front of me of 25 people. What I did was I whispered something into the first person's ear. Then he was supposed to whisper it into the next person's ear. Now, what I actually interjected and said was, "Go, executive director." You got that? Go, executive director. Do you know what came out at the other end after 25 people of hearing that? Eat a green burrito. Can you believe that? Eat a green burrito came out of Go Executive Director. Unbelievable. But that's the way people are. Everybody wants to embellish the story and make it sound better, when in fact it isn't even truth. So if you ask 100 expats a question, you're going to get 100 different answers. Just be careful of where you're getting your information. So, number one, that you can do your own immigration visa, go through the process, make sure that you're filling out all the questions on the Spanish application that's done here at Lake Chapala before you go to the I&M office, and have done it correctly. Because if you mess up one thing and you're at the I&M office, they could say this paperwork isn't correct. Immigration attorneys go to school for 4 years, sometimes 5. They do that to learn about the rules and the laws of immigration. 5 years, at minimum of 4. So the question is, if those immigration documents are actually produced, who actually writes them up? That's right, other attorneys. For who to read? Other attorneys. I don't know why anybody would go on Facebook saying, you know what, you can do all that by yourself. You have no idea what the comprehension, the understanding is of a person that's looking at your post or what you're reading and get the misinformation, that you can just do it yourself. I can't tell you how many calls people call me to be able to want to talk to an immigration attorney when they get here to town. That's one of the things I do within the service, the relocation service I provide, is we're doing that next step right there. And it's a way of you being able to feel comfortable and such, because that's already been taken care of. Because you got to do that within the first 30 days of when you cross the border. Here's another one. Just rent the house. You don't need an attorney to review the document. Okay, let's go back again. So real estate attorneys go to school to learn about real estate actions, activities, legal things that are going on within the real estate industry. Now, case in point, I've got a gentleman. He's here with his 80-year-old mom. And they're in a place right now that isn't any good. And they don't have water. And so they're looking to go somewhere else. But then they found out that they signed some promissory notes, which is saying, I mean, what's a promissory note that says you're going to be paying whatever this amount is that you agreed to and you signed your name? He's on the hook for it. He's got to pay it. If he's looking at leaving, if he's looking at wanting to get any kind of money back, if in fact the landlord's willing to do that. But I spoke with a real estate attorney about this. It's something that happens here. Now, the feeling that I got from him was it isn't necessarily right, because what you're doing is you're double dipping. Not only are you giving that landlord first, last, and deposit, and some even a pet deposit, but you've also signed these IOUs, these promissory notes, separate of everything else. So, why am I saying that? Why am I bringing that to you? Because what you don't know can hurt you. It's really important to know what you're signing. You don't just sign something, specifically if it's in Spanish, if you don't know the language. Because here's what happens. They might say they're going to give you one that's in English, a copy of it in English. But when it really comes down to legal and law, the Spanish contract supersedes the English one. That means the one that's legal, the one that really stands, is the one that's in Spanish. So just something for you to think about. Don't necessarily just go sign your life away and have no idea what you're signing. You can't find a rental here for less than $2,000. I can't tell you how many times I get that. Can't find a place here for less than $2,000 to rent. Ridiculous. I've had places that I've actually put on the channel that are $350. So there's all kinds of opportunity here. All kinds of opportunity of finding rentals. So if that's you and you're reaching out, wanting to find out if there's rentals that are less than, $2,000 or even less than $1,000, I assure you there are. Can't find a home to purchase for less than $175,000. That's also incorrect. There are places that you can actually buy a house here for less than $175,000. Now here's what I tell people. If you're looking, you'll find. It isn't just going to come and fall in your lap. You've got to be searching. If you're willing to search and you're doing it diligently, there's going to come a time where your number comes up and you found the place that you were looking for. So there are deals for less than $175,000. I can't believe this one. I've said it before, that people have put on Facebook that the fish from the lake are being served at the restaurants here at Lake Chapala. And that is so far from the truth. I've been at seafood restaurants. I've seen the frozen trucks come in with all the frozen fish, delivering it to restaurants. I've never once seen anybody taking stuff fishing in the lake and bringing it to a restaurant. It's ridiculous. That isn't what happens. Everyone that has got a restaurant here at Lake Chapala wants to be offering you the best value for the money. So they're not taking fish out of the lake and passing it off as something else. No, they're getting the fish the right way. Here's another one. The lake gives off dangerous gases and people are getting sick. I get people ask me about this. Well, if people are getting sick, why would I want to come to Lake Chapala? Well, if everybody was getting sick, there'd be nobody left. That's so far from the truth. So far from the truth. Don't fall into the trap of believing that, because it isn't true. The lake is polluted. It isn't polluted. The Lerma River, which actually dumps water from a river into Lake Chapala, is going through many water processing plants before it even gets here. Here's why. The water from the lake, now listen here, the water from the lake is being pumped out at the speed of 2,500 gallons a second to provide Guadalajara with its water. The number 2 largest city in the country is getting their water from Lake Chapala. Now, if it was getting everybody sick and it was polluted, that'd be a clue. It's polluted. People are getting sick. That's not the case. Okay, that's not the case. No one ever goes into the lake. Why would you post that? There are people in the lake. I've seen sailboating. Today I saw a boat. I've seen sailboats on there. I've seen kayaks and canoes. I've seen different water sports. I've seen water skiing. I mean, there are things that happen on the lake. Just because you're someone that doesn't get out very often and you're not out in the lake, you haven't seen anything, so there's nothing that happens on the lake. That's so far-fetched. I know of a gentleman right now that owns a restaurant here in town. He takes his Sea-Doos. He has 2, and they go out onto the lake in their Sea-Doos. I just don't know why people are willing to put stuff out there that just isn't true. I'm actually preparing a video I'm going to do about this, but about driving down from the border by yourself. There's some things that you want to know about, but don't just believe it when somebody says online, on social media, on Facebook, that, you know what, you can drive down by yourself from the border, no problem. You'll be able to get here safely with no problem. Really? That's why I've got a client that's come from the States that left and came down here from Las Vegas. On the way down in the middle of nowhere, having no cell phone coverage, had 3 flat tires. 3. What do? Well, you drove down by yourself because somebody on Facebook said you could do that. Well, sure you can. But is that not a smart thing to do? And I've got a list of people that if you're looking at driving down, I've got folks that will actually go up and meet you and drive you down that speak both languages. And if something was to happen, they'd be able to get help. Whether it be passersby, whether it be finding things out that's going to be of help to you. He ended up having to get a tow truck that towed him into the next town. Folks, I'll just tell you, don't just believe everything that you read on Facebook and social media. The traffic's horrible. This isn't traffic. Now, it's a 2-lane highway, and it's the only one between the 15 miles between Ocotepeque and Chapala. So if there's X amount of cars on there, there's more congestion. It's going to take you a bit longer to get where you want to go. But it is what it is. And that isn't always. I mean, we're right now in the getting ready for the low season. And it doesn't always happen here. I mean, the traffic isn't really that bad. Don't worry about coming to Lake Chapala and not have to know Spanish. That is so far not the truth. You want to learn Spanish. It's their country, not ours. We want to make sure that we're treating them well. And we should be communicating with them in Spanish. The Mexican people are lazy. That's the farthest from the truth. They're hard workers. You just got to be looking and paying attention to them. They're hard workers. Walmart should have signs in English. No, you should know Spanish. There's a saying that goes, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Why doesn't Walmart carry the kind of things that are in the States? Because we're not in the States. We're in Mexico. Why would you put that online? Why have anybody read that? That's not going to be helpful. Again, you're in Mexico. That's like saying, well, in Spain, any Walmart should have everything in English. Or in Russia, or wherever Walmart's at. That's ridiculous. Ponchos doesn't have this or that, and they complain on Facebook. I've seen it over and over. I've had people forward posts to me from Facebook. It's number one, Poncho is an incredible guy. He's a great guy. I really appreciate his friendship. And I'll tell you what, he built a brand new grocery store. In his original store, he's got 20,000 items. In his new store, he's got over 40,000 items and even a restaurant that's being built at this time on the second floor. He does have what people are looking for. Then people say, whoa, it's too much money. Wait a minute. Why don't you then get on a plane and go to California or Texas and you place an order and then you have a truck down to the border and cross the border and bring it down here and pay employees to put it on the shelf? That's so ridiculous. He runs a business. So just understand that's the reason that things cost a little more. He's running a business. He's got to make a profit. And the crime. Folks, I'll tell you, I was just telling somebody today that I was talking to Chris some time ago about he owns a bike shop here. And I was asking him about, does he ever find that they get stolen? And he said he doesn't hear about that much. But he was in LA getting more bikes to bring down, and somebody stole them right out of the back of the truck. In LA. Figure that. So he's at the crime here. I've never heard of one bike being stolen here. Never one bike.